Hey, hello and welcome everybody. It's Thursday, December 17th, 5 o'clock, and this is episode number 28. I'm reading off my paper so I don't get it wrong. And I was going to wear my Santa hat tonight to cover up my bald head, but I can't find it because I seen some old pictures. I'm wearing a Santa hat, so I thought it'd be pretty cool. Ho, 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 and dressed like Santa. Anyway, my special guest today is Greg of 3D Printing, of 3D Printing Pro. I'm tripping over my words here. And he is a really awesome guy. He does miniatures. He does a little bit of anything and everything. He reviews resin printers. Let me bring him in here and we can all say hi to him. Hey, Greg.
Hey, what's up, Terry? How you doing, man?
Oh, yeah. Most of the time when I go live, I get nervous and I get a cramp in my back and I just got a back cramp. I don't know why that happened. When I do my hangouts, it never happens.
Well, if you had the Santa hat on, it probably wouldn't have happened.
Yeah, it's really odd. I have no idea why that's happening. Let me say hi to a few people in chat. Let's see. We got Andrew S. Hello. Red Light. How you doing? Michael Castle. Kenny Briggs. Astro Printer. David Petzel. Betty Boot 45. Brandon Knapp. Hello. Anyway, yeah. I'm really happy that you could come on and be my special guest. You got some really awesome videos and you've been doing a lot of really great reviews. And I thought this would be a great opportunity to have you on and kind of talk to everybody, live. People can ask you questions and,
Yeah, it sounds good, man. Definitely ready to field questions. So people can see my office environment here. One of my prized possessions over my back right shoulder. So on your left side, my Death Dealer, Frank Frazetta statue. Under the Frank Frazetta painting of the Death Dealer, not the original cheap print. But
I got a picture of that. I'll pull up here in a little bit.
Yeah, I love that thing, man.
If I could ask you, let me start with my first question. What got you interested in 3D printing and about when?
Well, I guess it was now about 2 years ago, and I was getting back into Dungeons and Dragons actually, which is interesting because I was a Dungeons and Dragons player like back in junior high school and high school. And then I didn't really find people to play with. My friends, I even though I'm a nerd, I was kind of with the jock crowd a little bit too. So my friends all want to play sports and couldn't really find people to play D&D with and didn't play in college. Then when I graduated, I didn't play. I started playing Warhammer and Mage Knight and some other games like that. And then it was actually my kids, one of my kids, my 12-year-old, at the time, I guess 11-year-old, said, "Hey, Dad, I want to try D&D." And it was like out of the blue. So I was like, really, want to play D&D? Awesome, because I'd love to play, get back into it again. So I was actually ramping up to buy a bunch of D&D stuff. And one of the things I had always wanted, and you guys out there probably all know Dwarven Forge. Like Dwarven Forge makes that incredible terrain. But if you want to make a dungeon, it's like $3,000 to make a Dwarven Forge dungeon. So I never bought any of their stuff because it was like crazy expensive. I couldn't justify it, So anyway, when I was looking around at stuff like that, though, I actually, on YouTube, I think the first video I ever watched was from Danny Herrero, the 3D printing DM, who probably everyone watching this probably knows who Danny is, right? He runs the Tabletop 3D Printing Guild Facebook group, and he's had a few. His Kickstarter is called Lost Adventures. Uh-huh. And, so actually, I watched his video because it had the words D&D in it. It popped up on my stream, and I watched it. And he was using a 3D printer to make D&D stuff. And I was like, wow, what the hell is this? And it looked pretty cool. So that's when I started just like watching every video I could on YouTube on 3D printing. And I decided it was a cost-effective way for me to make D&D terrain and even print some figures and stuff so that my kids could start playing D&D. And so that's actually how I discovered and got into 3D printing. It was really just for D&D.
All right. How many printers do you think you have owned, and do you have a favorite, whether it be Resin or FDM?
Well, FDM, I'd have to say FDM is out for me. I'm so enamored with Resin printers, and as good as I've gotten, and I've gotten great stuff from my FDM printers. I mean, for me, the FDM wise, the Ender 3 has been the best I ever had, because I think if you just build it right, that machine for a really cheap machine works incredibly well. I mean, at one point when I was using my Enders a lot, I think I had 2 Enders running like 24/7 for like 6 months without touching either of them, just printing perfectly. But since the Resin printers are starting getting bigger and I can actually now do my terrain in Resin, it just looks better. So for me, I've kind of put to bed my Resin printers. And a lot of companies want to send me, put to bed my FDM printers. A lot of companies these days, because of my channel, they want to send me FDM printers to test. And I'm telling them, don't send it to me anymore. Like, I only want to use Resin now. So
yeah.
Now to answer your question though, if you flash forward to my Resin printers, I've had like 16 or 17 different ones probably. You can see some Sonic Mini 4Ks right behind me. What else is in sight? That's the Elegoo Saturn over there right next to it that you can't see. I've got an Epax X1K. Behind my chair that you can't see, I've got the Frozen Sonic Mighty, which I just put a review out on like a week or two ago. And then I have about another 10 printers in another room. I don't know that I have a favorite out of the Resin ones, because right now, honestly, the Frozen Sonic Mighty, the Elegoo Saturn, and Epax E10. So these are all big, like 9-inch type screens. They're all printing. They're all printing perfectly. No complaints about any of those 3 machines, to be honest. Of the small ones, for sure, right now, even though I'm generally known as an Epax fanboy because I think Epax makes the best machines, but despite that, the Sonic Mini 4Ks you see right behind me over my right shoulder, they give a level of detail that none of my other printers can match right now. So for me, Sonic Mini 4K is the best small printer, because it gives detail on the minis that, you know, the other ones just can't match. I know some people think you can't see it with your naked eye, but that's bull, because I can hold up prints from my Sonic Mini 4K and even like my Epax X1K or the Mars 2 Pro, and I can see a difference. So that resolution matters. Yeah.
Sorry. I have an Elegoo Mars I've had for about a year now. I've replaced the screen twice, and now the touch screen somehow has slid down. So when I go to hit a button, I've got to come off of it to find it, but it still works. I wanted to get a mid-sized printer. I can't afford a $2,000 printer. And I seen your video and Matt's video on the Sonic Mighty 4K. And so it's either going to be a Saturn, Elegoo Saturn, which isn't out yet at Amazon, or the Sonic Mighty. I wound up ordering a Sonic Mighty a few days ago. And I know they just started shipping, so I don't know when I'm going to get it, but I'm pretty excited because it's going to be so much larger than the Elegoo Mars.
Yeah, I mean, I just printed 4 Hexton Hills tiles at once on my Sonic Mighty 4K, and they came out great. So I think the Mighty right now, I don't have current pricing information. I'm pretty sure that the Sonic Mighty is even cheaper than the Elegoo Saturn.
Yeah, $499. And you get a free bottle of resin, but I think the free bottle of resin ended yesterday.
Oh yeah, they had a deal going. Yeah.
They had a combo. Did have a combo deal. I don't know if it's still running. Where for $650 you get that plus their curing station, which is just as big as the resin printer itself. And
I actually have the curing station, not in this room. It's pretty cool. It doesn't wash. It's only a curing station. So to me, that's a luxury item because you can make one for $20 probably at home. But if you want to buy one, it's big. It has a huge plate to spin around, and it's got the light source coming from 3 spots. So it does what it does, but it's definitely a luxury item. But I can't believe that you can get, I mean, just when I got into resin printing 2 years ago, the Anycubic Photon had basically just come out when I started printing. Like a month before I got into this, that's when the Anycubic Photon dropped at $500, right? For the first small, resin printer was incredible. 6 months later, it was down to $250, and then all the competitors entered. Now for that $500, you can get the Frozen Sonic Mighty, a 4K screen with that size. We're lucky. It's pretty incredible. It's a great time to be a consumer and a 3D printer user because the technology's advanced quickly, and a price like this is insane. 5-6 years ago, if you wanted a printer that could get the quality we're getting now, it cost you $50,000. So, we've been the beneficiaries of this really cheap, good technology coming out. I think it's pretty incredible what you can make at home. Like every time I print, I take something like this off my printer, which is the bugbear from my Kickstarter, and it just looks amazing. You might not be able to really see. It probably won't focus well. But the point is, we can make, right now with that Sonic Mini 4K, I can legitimately tell people we can now make something as good as Games Workshop can give you on their sprue, basically. That's the kind of level of detail we're finally getting. So it is such an incredible money saver for all of us right now.
And well, all your small prints, you print solid, and anything big, you usually hollow, right?
Yeah, I'm not a huge fan of hollowing in general. So unless it's something really, really big, I don't like to hollow it, because I like a nice big heavy mini. And I don't think when you hollow something, if it's not huge, I don't think you're saving much money. And if you and a lot of people, I think if they don't have proper drain holes placed and then they don't clean it properly, a lot of those models will crack open in 3 to 6 months anyway. So for me, it's a lot safer for people. Plus, I'll only hollow a model where I don't want to repair afterwards. So if I can't really hide the drain holes strategically, like at the bottom of feet or like under the area of a loincloth where you won't see it, then I'm not going to hollow the model, because I don't want a whole decent sized hole that I then have to go to green stuff or do whatever. I'd rather just print it solid and spend the extra 30 cents than spend half an hour trying to fix it.
Okay.
Doesn't seem worth it to me.
Let me pull up some of your pictures here. You can tell us a little bit about them.
Yeah. Oh, okay. So this is in the room I'm in. I am, as you can see from this, a bit of a Deadpool fan. I was before the movies came out, and I have to say, normally when I'm a fan of something written and then they make a movie, I usually hate the movies. I love the Deadpool movies. So if anyone wants to know what kind of sense of humor I have, the Deadpool movie kind of speaks to it, kind of irreverent and a little, nasty, whatever. So I have more stuff than this, but this is just what I chose to display. I have a bunch of other Deadpool statues.
Are most of these resin printed, or a little bit of you bought?
No, none of these are resin printed. The funny thing is, the only thing resin printed in that whole cabinet is, if you look right to the right of the unicorn, it'll be hard to see. It's actually a model of my gunslinger that was painted by the very famous painter James Wapple, who painted it for me. And I just stuck it in there because it's so cool. I put him in my Deadpool case.
Right.
And down below, so I'm also a huge fan of the Ninja Turtles. So I have those 4 statues. Actually, if you have enough space, they link together and form, the 4 of them standing side by side. And those are kind of like the original design turtles. So all their bandanas are the same color, because in the original comic book was black and white. They didn't have different colored bandanas like in the later things. So I'm a huge Ninja Turtle fan.
Awesome.
And then I think I sent you a picture from the other side of the cabinet. Yeah. So in here is a portion of my League of Legends figures. I collect League of Legends figures. Well, I actually collect toys in general, and I actually think I have one of the biggest toy collections in the world. I have 7,000 6-inch action figures.
Wow.
7,000. It's a lot. And I in my old place, before I got married, I had 1,000 of them on display. I actually had a living room that was filled with shelves, and on every shelf from floor to ceiling were Spawn action figures, Marvel action figures, all that kind of stuff. It was crazy.
And all these are in glass cases, so they don't get dusty, or is it open on the front?
Yeah, nope. That's all glass cases with mirror backs. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that'd be a pain if I have to get, here I live in Las Vegas and everything gets dusty and dirty, and it's hard.
I don't want to get dust on my figures. I try to keep them. Although if you see up top, and I think I sent you pictures up top, I have a few of my Bowen statues, and again, those are not 3D printed. I think you have a pixel you could show. So I got classic Logan versus Sabretooth, and then the other one, if you scroll over to that other picture, you got a Batman. I love this pose of Batman. And of course, got a cool Punisher over there too. But this Batman sculpt in particular, super aggressive pose, super active. Definitely, I think this one's Bowen. I think these are all Bowen designs actually. And I think I have about 70 of the Bowen statues. Again, not all on display anymore. Hey, Brandon, you got 150 Spawn figures? I have every Spawn figure ever made, except I don't think I have the original hamburger head Spawn, because that one was super duper limited, and I think it was only given out at convention, and I didn't feel like shelling out $200 for it. But all the ones you could buy, I have, including all the variants.
Wow. Yeah, Brandon Knapp's my son. I recently printed him the great big giant Spawn diorama that you've seen probably. It's like 30-something inches tall. It was like 12 or 13 rolls of film. It took a long time to print.
Yeah. Spawn is awesome, man. I love when those comics came out. I went nuts. I love Spawn. I think, oh no, in my downstairs room when I make my videos, is Spawn in the back? I think, yeah, one of my Spawn posters is down there, I think, where I make my videos.
Let's see. And the picture you had behind you were talking about this one earlier. That's really nice.
Yeah, this is the best. Like anyone who likes fantasy art, well, I can't speak for all of you, but I'm going to say it anyway. Anyone who likes fantasy art, you have to love the Death Dealer. That painting, that's the most iconic Frazetta painting, I think, or at least top 3 that he's ever done, ever did, because he's dead. But it's just an incredible painting. And I don't think even people who aren't fantasy fans, when you see the Death Dealer painting, that's a painting that moves everyone to some degree, right? It's just a striking painting. And Bowen did a limited run. They made, I think, 2,000 of those statues. So, of course, I had to snag the statue of it. Now, I think some other company got the rights and are re-releasing that statue, but it's not exactly the same. But I love that. I walk in every day. That's what I look at first.
Do you have a favorite print that you've ever done, or
favorite print?
Or is everything a favorite? That's why you do the next one.
Yeah, I think I'm like most people probably. Whatever I print that comes out looking great, that's my favorite for a day or two. And then something else goes off the printer. I'm like, holy, that's cool, man. Like, for people out there, for someone like me, and hopefully it's like this for other people who are 3D printing, I'm like a little kid at Christmas. Like literally every time I go to my printer, unless I'm printing bases, okay, everything that comes off, it's like Christmas. I'm like, holy crap, I made this. Like I'm still amazed what I can print at home. I mean, it's incredible to me. Stuff that I used to buy. Okay, so I played Mage Knight, right? And I played Warhammer. So I bought professionally made figures and I thought they were great. Now I print stuff at home that's better. I'm literally printing better stuff at home. To me, it's still mind-blowing what I can print at home. It's like staggering to me. It's crazy.
Andrew S. has a question for you. Greg, do you have the Spawn First Edition, Throne of Skulls? There was the first set that went out.
I have the Throne of Skulls. I'm not sure. I'd have to check to see which edition it is. That I'm actually not sure, but I do have it. That I know.
I know my son loaned me a couple of his little Spawn action figure toys, collectibles. If I get the wrong word, he's going to get mad at me. But when you look at them really close, they're not painted that well. I'm thinking when I look at them really close, it's like, well, did a machine paint this? I knew they probably did them by hand, but some of the paint jobs are not done that well.
Well, so people who know have seen my painting. I'm actually a decent painter, not great by any stretch, and I'm definitely not bragging. But I paint to like tabletop quality, maybe a step above what most people consider tabletop quality. And when I look at someone like my Bowen statues, for instance, I have to hold back from repainting them because I feel like I could paint them a little better than they came from the factory. And I know for sure someone like a Chris Spotts or James Wapple or one of the artists that I'm friends with could do 100 times better. But I'm also, as a collector, you get scared. If you alter anything or mess with anything, it loses its value, even if it looks better, right? So like even a Spawn figure, like if I took one of my Spawn figures that's opened and I repainted it to make it look better, if I went to sell it, no one would want it. They'd be like, that's not the right figure. You painted it. Right. So I guess if you made it look good enough, then someone might want to buy it. But for what I would do to it. So
there's that one man on YouTube who's got a channel, Raphael. I can't think of his name. Chat, please help me out. He's a Hispanic man. He repaints all these custom figures for people. They go out and buy them and he paints them better. His name is Raphael. I can't think of his name, but he's got an awesome channel and he repaints everything and he's just awesome at it.
Right. I'm sure he paints about 1,000 times better than me. So
I'm not sure. I mean, everybody can paint good. It just takes time. Just take your time, wear your glass. As you're getting older like I am, you said you're what, 32?
Yeah, now coming on 33. Oh, 53 was it? Yeah. Coming on 53.
You gotta wear glasses and have a bright light. Take your time and you'll get it.
I have the jeweler's glasses with the light and everything, but some part of painting is just talent that some people have more than others. Like if you look at Sergio Cavallo or Alexandra from Craft World or James Wapple, they don't paint like regular human beings. Even I paint slow, I can't paint like that, The
hardest thing for me, well, first off, skin tones are tough and eyes are really hard. Eyes are really hard to paint.
Eyes are killer, man. So eyes, I do the best I can. I outline them in black, like they say, put the white area in as best I can. Then I take my micron pen, which is right here, and got a point that's about 1 pixel big.
Oh, wow.
I try to stab it in the center of the eye. And normally I miss, and I have to redo the eye and miss and redo it until I get lucky enough that it kind of goes in the middle. Because the worst is when you put an eye in, you got a cross-eyed figure.
I try to paint an eye whenever I can, but I just went and bought some of these acrylic paints that somebody was telling me about. And they're acrylic markers of some sort. They're not a magic marker, but I'm going to test these out on different things. I have a ton of paints, but, these might work out good. So they have paint in them, and I don't know. I haven't looked at them yet, but
the thing is, it's so hard to, like, I have so much trouble just, like, hitting that dot. Then I see other people actually paint, like, colors in and a pupil in. I'm like, how is that even humanly possible? Yeah, toothpick, but you got to hit it in the right spot still. I'm looking at PKs. Yeah, you give me a toothpick all day. I can't stab the,
Yeah, that's my way. Yeah, I've tried a toothpick on some things. And then when I go to take a picture of it to put it online, it's like, wow, that looks terrible. I can't.
Right. You get it. I do it. And I think, oh, that looks pretty good. And then I take a high-res photo. I'm like, oh, that looks like shit.
Yeah.
What happened there?
You got to change the angle. You got to shadow it. You got to do something to make the picture look better. I mean, I've even taken my vape pipe on Spawn. I got a Spawn that has a Batman, Spider-Man hanging upside down. I took a big whiff of my vape pipe, blew smoke at it, and I started taking pictures.
Nice. Yeah, well, the Gundam paint pens, right? Well, that's where I got the idea, because people were using these micron pens to line the Gundam. I actually have a collection of Gundams also. But I lost a lot of my stuff. I'm one of those people, like you see on the news where their house is burning down. My house actually burned down a few years ago. So I lost a lot of stuff, unfortunately.
Nobody was home. I hope you all got out safely.
No, we got out safely. I was home. The fire was burning in the attic right above. In this room I was in, right above my head, the attic was on fire. They told me for like 6 or 7 hours, and I didn't know because the attic was very well insulated. So I actually went out for lunch. Everything was fine. I came back 15 minutes later. My house was engulfed in flames. I was like, how is this possible? The fireman was like, oh, this has been burning for like 7, 8 hours. I was like, nah, dude, I was home. And they were like, it was on fire. So you're lucky. So yeah.
You got YouTube running. I'm hearing feedback. I'm hearing myself talk. I don't know. Every time I talk, I hear myself. That's strange.
Should I move my mic further away from the computer, maybe?
That might be hearing it. Okay, that's better.
Is that better?
Yep.
Okay, cool.
Okay. Anyway, on to our next mini.
Oh, yeah. Now, this is actually one of my favorite recent prints. I won't say favorite of all time, because I just love this guy. I think that, look at, and again, this goes to what the Sonic Mini 4K can do. Look at the details, the buttons, the little things on his jacket, even every little tooth. I don't know if you can even see it in this picture, but each tooth printed out like very clearly defined.
Yeah.
So it's a great sculpt, and the Sonic Mini 4K could actually bring it out. So I just love this piece.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, this was made by R&E Studios, I think, for a release like 2-3 months ago. And I really liked what they did with it, but it had a much worse looking sword and a smaller, wimpier looking gun. So I told them, hey, I need to pay you to remake this for my Kickstarter. So they remade this for me, and there's a different version than they released. And now he's got a cool sword and a bigger gun. So I think it looks a lot better.
Yeah, this is a funny comment. He says, at least his mic works. Daniel Hubbard was on a stream last night, and his mic was breaking up really bad. And I said, if we get to 10 likes, he's going to buy a new mic. And anyway, the likes went up. And later, his mic got better. It improved itself. And then the man that was streaming lost his internet, so they were on stream by themselves chatting. And it's like us right now. If my internet goes down, this will stay live since I didn't download StreamYard, and you'll be talking by yourself until I can hurry and log back in. So it was kind of funny.
Well, people used to bitch about my microphone. Like, okay, so people know when I started my YouTube channel, I didn't set out to make a YouTube channel. I never had any plans on making a YouTube channel. Didn't want to make a YouTube channel. So when I finally did it, which I only did because, so going back in history, I was just helping people online, like on Facebook groups mostly. Then I started helping a lot of people. Then a lot of people started messaging me. Next thing I knew, I was getting like 10 to 15 messages a day for people who needed help. And because I'm one of those people, I couldn't say no. So I was helping everyone. So I was spending all my time basically helping people on Facebook who were having trouble. And they all even kept telling me, like everyone who asked me to help said, oh, you should make a YouTube channel. And I was like, no, I don't know how to. I don't use YouTube even really. I don't want to, whatever. And then finally I realized I was spending way too much time helping people. I needed a way to alleviate that. And I thought maybe I should make a YouTube channel and try to teach people rather than helping them individually through messaging. So that's how it started. So I had no real camera, no real microphone. If you notice, if you look back at my early videos, the first 10 videos I made, I'm not in them. It's just audio because I didn't have a camera set up. And I didn't have a real mic until about 4 or 5 months ago. So the first year of my YouTube channel was with a crappy mic, and people complained and complained. And I ordered a real mic, which is this one, which is, I think, the one a lot of YouTubers use. It's a Yeti, Blue Yeti. For some reason, it didn't come for like 3 months after I ordered it. So even though I tried to upgrade my mic, I got delayed by an extra 3 months anyway. So now, hopefully, the mic working good. People can hear me nice and clear.
Yeah, it's usually sound. I mean, everybody usually complains about, well, we can't hear you, need to talk louder. And when I edit, sometimes I crank the volume all the way up and it sounds fine. But then again, both my computers have volume controls where I can turn up the volume, where a lot of people may be watching on a cell phone or something where they can't increase the volume. So I'm not sure.
Right. So that was my one big thing, was to upgrade my microphone so people could hear me a little better. So that's done. Now the next thing people were complaining about was I had to fix the lighting in the room where I'm doing it. So I actually finally just got in some of those lights that you're probably using right now. You know, I got some LED lights, like video lights and stuff like that. So I'm going to try that and see if it works.
Yeah, I've got a box light in front of me that was like 2 foot by 2 foot, but it was washing out my shelf lights behind me. So I put cardboard around it, painted it black, and I put duct tape all the way around it to focus it like a 1 foot square. And then my son bought me a small ring light, but I got to figure out where I can mount the ring light.
So Old Curmudgeon is asking us a question. Does support structure help with curling, or just you ever do? Well, so for resin or FDM?
Does support structure help with the curling, or just if you have drop problem with overhangs? Had 3 bad fails.
Yeah, I don't know if you're talking about FDM or resin or.
I'm not sure.
Astro, I'm not sure. Like, I don't know. I don't know what happened, but none of the resins bother me anymore. I think I've become immune to the smell of resin. I use primarily Epax Hard and Soraya Fast, and to me, neither of them have an odor that bothers me. So I know it's different odors trigger different people, because we know the resins are, contain effectively allergens for people. So some will bother you, some will not, and I think it's a very personal thing.
Yeah, as far as for odor, I've never used any resins that smell really bad. I mean, when they get done and you first take the cover off, if you're right there in front of it, you can smell it a little bit, but it doesn't stink up my house. I worked construction for 35 years, and I've smelled just about everything. But I forget the resin that people used to buy that had a real bad odor to it. And they would have to.
Some of this, I use Soraya Fast, but some of their other resins have had some funky smells to me personally. I think Soraya Sculpt smells a little weird to me, but their other resins don't actually. And then other people have told me Soraya Sculpt doesn't smell bad to them, so I don't know. Old Curmudgeon, FDM. If you're having curling, by curling, do you mean warping? Do you mean coming up warped from the build plate?
If he's putting a skirt on it, if it's curling off of a skirt, make a bigger skirt, or use a raft, and you shouldn't have any curling problems whatsoever.
Well, I have a video for that. So if you look at my channel, if you're talking about warping at all, I have a whole video that goes over all the different things, such as speed, temperature, even changing air currents in a room, all things that could give you warping, if that's what you're talking about. So if you do, go to my channel, watch my video on how to stop warping on FDM, and that should help you, hopefully.
Yeah, I just done a video today. TK's talking about these vats I got from Sobel. He said they're Teflon coated, and I know they're anodized aluminum. They're aluminum, but
yeah, that looks like it would fit. That would fit my Epax X1K right there. That style wouldn't work in the Sonic Mini 4K or any of those, because the holes need to go all the way through for those.
Yeah. Yeah, it doesn't have holes to go all the way through. I use these on my old Gumars. I got them in the mail, and I tried a couple out, and I threw a video together real quick. And on my video, I didn't mention it, but yes, there is marks on the inside where you can see how full you're filling it. But every time I resin print, I usually fill my vat all the way up. That way I don't run out and help keep the screen cooler. So as long as you don't overfill it, I usually fill it all the way up. But if I have I probably won't do that.
The one thing that every single vat should have, and I know all the resin printer companies, and I deal with all of them. I tell them all the same thing, and they don't listen. Every single, and some of them do, but every single vat should have a max fill line, so you know exactly where you can put it in, so you can load it up like you want to, without it spilling over. That should never happen. But some vats still come to me, and they don't have a max fill line. I'm like, this is retarded. It's literally. I mean, it can't cost them any money at all to do. So I don't understand why they don't all do it. That's like a head scratcher.
I've seen people do it, but I can't imagine why anybody would fill it clear to the top. And then here comes a build plate and it just runs everywhere.
Right. Anyone who understands displacement would not fill their vat to the top.
Let me look at some questions here. I got behind on the questions. Sweet B52, I've been using eSun water washables and can barely smell it. I've never tried water-soluble resins. Have you?
Yeah, well, water washable, not water. Water soluble wouldn't be bad. They'd melt when you put them in the water. But yeah, I actually I tried eSun water washable, and I actually liked it. I know it's weird. I've been seeing a lot of people have been having a lot of trouble. I don't know if it was the Elegoo water washable. I keep seeing people post pictures on Facebook, and they've got cracked prints or layer shift prints, and it always seems to be water washable. So I'm not sure why that is, but I've kind of stayed away from it, just seeing a lot of bad results people have had with water washable now.
Old curmudgeon, PM me a pic or post it on my group so I can see exactly what's happening, and then I can give you a better answer if I see what your problem is with the curling. I'd appreciate it.
Yeah, dude, I'm serious. For what he's talking about, lower layers curling up, I'm telling you, if you watch my video on warping an FDM, guaranteed it'll solve it for you.
Facebook user, if you click the link above the video, we'll be able to see your name, which I should have mentioned that earlier. Just trying to get caught up on let's see. What's your day job when you're not resin printing and making all these cool videos? What do you do for a living?
I deal crack. No, I'm actually one step above or maybe one step below a crack dealer. I'm an attorney. So depends how you feel about attorneys, whether that's above or below crack dealer, I guess.
What kind of attorney?
Real estate, at least, instead of I'm not an ambulance chaser. I help people buy and sell their houses, basically. So
cool.
I don't do any of the fighty stuff or the cool stuff you see on TV or whatever. That's not me. I'm a paper pusher.
Do you work for a firm or do you have your own?
It's myself and my father, actually.
Oh, cool. So you have commercials on TV in New York, or?
Oh, no, we don't. I'm not into advertising them. I'm not a big self-promoter. People might think I am because I have a YouTube channel, but like I said, I never even wanted to do the YouTube channel. That wasn't really my choice. So I'm not big into self-promotion really like that.
TV3D Dan, hello, how you doing? Dan has weekly live streams all the time. He's always streaming and he's always in the streams.
Okay, cool.
Let me go on to some more pictures here. There we go. That's really nice.
Oh, now this figure, I love Wukong. So I'm a big fan of Wukong in general. But when I came up with the idea for this pose, I wanted to do a Wukong model, but I never saw any Wukong model I really liked. So I actually just looked at hundreds and hundreds of fan art kind of drawings of Wukong and kind of cobbled together this pose from looking at a bunch of different art people had done. I just really love the idea of him, kind of perching on his staff, ready to fight, because Wukong's a badass.
Very nice.
And this also is off the Sonic Mini 4K. It just gets such clean, crisp detail. This now, again, see, like you asked me about my favorite, everything's my favorite. I love the roaring war bear. I think that's just an awesome pose for a bear. I don't like bears down on all fours. I love a standing bear roaring a challenge. And then the Northern Barbarian Queen he's with, That's sculpted by R&E Studios for me. I want it. I don't often see female figures in extremely dynamic and aggressive poses. So I wanted a woman who looked angry. She's in battle and she's running at you about to, tear you a new one. So I was very happy with the sculpt they did. And she comes with the chakram, plus she has 2 swords, and she also has 2 frost hammers she comes with. So she's a very, very cool figure. I love her.
I know that you have a Kickstarter and a Patreon. Are these on your Patreon you had designed, or you designed them?
No, I don't have a my Patreon is only for making my videos and doing resin tests and stuff like that. So my Patreon does not involve figures at all. All these figures that you're just showing are actually just from my Kickstarter. So, so I don't want anyone to be misled. You think if you join my Patreon, you're getting figures. People who join my Patreon, I use the money from my Patreon to buy resins to test, because if you look at my channel, I do resin testing. And also, not every manufacturer sends me machines to test because I'm very honest in my reviews. So I think some people are scared to send me their machines. So when they don't send me a machine, I use the money from the Patreon to buy the machines so I can give an honest review to people and let them know, what the real deal is with the machines. So my Patreon has no figures. It's not a miniature Patreon at all.
Let me share a screen here real quick. And here you are over on YouTube, 3D Printing Pro.
Right.
I'm hearing myself again. Go to videos. Hi. One thing I like about your videos, you always have your wife do unboxing, and then you jump in and take over. And I've never seen anyone else ever do it like that.
Yeah, well, my wife's a lot prettier than me, so I figure it's more fun to watch her unbox than it is to watch me unbox. That's for sure.
You get a lot of content.
I made a lot. For someone who didn't want to make any videos, I ended up making a lot of videos, right? So a lot of these, for people who don't know my channel, a lot of these are support tips and tricks and educating people on how to do supports properly. But then I throw in some other things, like you got there, like a photograph one, go back up to the woman's back. So I throw in some other stuff like how to photograph your minis. So you can take professional looking photographs of your minis and make them come out the way mine do, make them look really good. And then I had that weird little video about something in Excel. That was just a one-off because I couldn't find a video on what I wanted to do, so I had to make one.
Very nice.
Yeah, so, the video, recently my videos have been a little less about support tips because I made so many support tip videos. Now, more recently, it's mostly resin reviews and printer reviews, but still with the tips and tricks in there as I feel I have stuff to share. I don't want to make videos if I don't have actually something useful, to share with people.
And this is your Kickstarter?
Yeah, my Kickstarter. I'm really proud of this. This was a collaboration with, I think, 25 artists. So I went to all the good artists in our community, and I tried to do a Kickstarter that included kind of like everyone. And we ended up with 45 different miniatures from all the top sculptors out there: Artisan Guild, Titan Forge, R&E Studio, RD Sculpt, Copra Mode, Twin Goddess, Kayushineko miniatures. I mean, like literally everybody threw something in here. Arcane Minis, who did Skies of Sordain. Oh, that Warforged is so cool. Gloomy Kid, Orc King, Titan Troll, Daniel Kelly. I mean, just you can see the quality of the miniatures like off the charts, man.
Awesome. And
I designed all these figures with the artists to make sure that they 3D print well, that they look hypermuscular my style is hypermuscular. So you look in the render, for instance, it looks almost too muscular, but when you print it out, it just looks great. So it's I'm really happy with the way the minis are turning out. We went live last week. The files were distributed and people are printing, and it's really awesome to see people printing out this stuff. But the figures are all very, like, if you look, every single pose is dynamic. Everything's a fighting pose.
Yeah. Yeah, turn your mic a little bit.
Am I coming through too loud, too soft?
It's fine now.
Yeah. I mean, like every one of these figures I'm in love with because every one of these was like a labor of love. Samurai Girl, she's awesome. This figure is amazing. Love this one. There's that Wukong we showed earlier. Turtle, amazing.
And I know I'm way behind on chat, everybody. I'm scrolling my other monitor here, and I can't do both at once. Wow. This just goes on and on and on.
Yeah, I'm telling you, there's a ton of figures there. And then you got the fighting arenas, which are awesome looking terrain. Really cool.
Yeah, I seen last week somebody posted a skull dice tower, I guess. It's kind of a skull with its mouth open, and you throw the dice. And
I saw that. I saw that one, yeah.
Really nice.
And I got a bunch of free stuff in there, Hexton Hills, and I mean, there's all kind of craziness in there.
Yeah, I've got a link in the description below. Anybody who wants to check it out, to his YouTube channel, his Patreon, or his Kickstarter. It's down below in the description.
Yeah, and then this just all free stuff that other creators just threw in, and it's just craziness. I feel like my Kickstarter was only $30 for the all-in, and it's probably like $300 worth of file. It got out of control. And my lead artist, look at that drawing. My lead artist, if you go back up, my lead sculptor drew that painting and then sculpted it. The guy's incredible.
Wow.
Yeah, he's a real artist. Yeah, and then these are just samples from all the people who kicked in. This is samples of their other work. I promised all the sculptors that I would give them their due credit. So I had to.
How many total pieces are there, you think?
In mine, overall, all added up, I don't know, because I have weapon options and stuff. You add up all the files, it's probably 200-300 files. But it's really about 45 figures, 3 big pieces of terrain, and then probably another 20 or 30 like free gift type stuff that we threw in, including a dragon that's like 2 feet long. I mean, just gigantic. Just, yeah, like I said, this Kickstarter got out of control. It was supposed to be 20 figures and a little bit of terrain, and then it ended up being, just massive, just kept growing and growing,
Wow. I'm near the bottom. Okay. Usually pages aren't this long. This is cool.
Well, I even honored all the painters. Like I didn't want to leave out anybody who was involved. So I wanted to make sure everyone got their credit. Because my Kickstarter was all about the 3D printing community. I didn't want to make it about me. I wanted to make it about the community. So we tried to add as many people. I added as many people as I humanly could. I would have liked to add even more, but I just didn't, I ran out of time. And this is my web store. So my stuff's available on my mini factory, but I also want to start my own store. And I'm about to add in all the models from the Kickstarter soon. This Armored Warbear is just awesome. And this Dwarf Battle Rager. So this guy is modeled after, if anyone read Felix and Gotrek, the Warhammer books, there was a Dwarf Battle Rager just covered in armor, would grind himself on his enemies. So I sculpted that. Pretty cool stuff.
All right, this is going to be interesting. There I am. I'm echoing real bad on your side.
Oh, am I echoing now?
I can hear myself talk on your side. Let's see.
I got the mic away from the speaker, so I was hoping that wouldn't happen.
Let me try to. I would say if anybody has any questions, please ask, but I'm sure you already did, so let me find them because I let chat go. And I can hear my director in another room yelling. So whenever I miss something, my wife yells from across the house.
Nice.
Yeah, she can hear me echoing. Well, it's not now, but it was.
Right, you sound good now.
Let's see. The awesome models. Chris Travis, hello. Do you have any other hobbies that you're into?
Oh yeah, my other big hobby is photography. I love to do portrait photography. It's one of those things. For me, it was like printing. The way I learned how to do supports was self-taught because at the time no one was teaching. And when I wanted to learn photography, I just basically watched every video I could and read every article I could for a month, and then started, just started doing portrait photography. And I sent you some pics. If you want to throw them up, people can see what my other hobby is besides 3D printing. So you can see some portraits I've done of people.
Is this your daughter here?
No. This is nope, not my daughter. I'm married to a Chinese woman. My daughter is half Asian.
Okay. Well, the next person I recognize. This is your wife.
That's my wife. Yeah.
You see her in all the videos.
Yeah, I do portraits for family, friends, and anyone else who wants a portrait.
I'm going to guess it's your son, right?
That one is my son.
Okay. Now the next one, I don't think is your son.
Nope, that is someone else's son who wanted me to do a portrait of him, so I did. And his eyes are bigger than his mouth, which is amazing. Pretty cute picture.
This next picture, your daughter looks exactly like her mother.
Yeah, that is my daughter.
I
think she looks nothing like my wife at all.
No?
She doesn't look like me either, but I think she looks in between us.
Okay.
Actually, she looks like a cross between between my mother and my wife's mother. She's a mixture of her grandmothers. She's quite a pretty girl, I have to say.
You have a home studio or something set up where you take your pictures?
Oh, yeah. I have a whole studio in my basement, photo studio, so I can do. So when people come over, family, friends, they want portraits done, I do their portraits.
Okay.
And I think I got pretty good at portrait photography. It's all about understanding lighting. So if you understand lighting, you understand photography, but it's not easy. The physics of light is not as easy as it sounds.
Yeah, I remember you were talking about in some of your videos when you film your minis, getting shadows on the muscles and different things, not having too much bright light. And that's part of my problem when I take pictures, is trying to get the light right to make it look good.
Yeah, well, the funny thing is, so I do this photography, and photography is a very serious hobby for me. And when I first started photographing my miniatures, I was taking crappy pictures of them. And then I realized, wait a second, for someone who's a photographer, how could I be taking bad pictures of my minis? So, because I wasn't really paying attention to what I was doing. So that's when I constructed a light box and started applying the same principles I applied to portrait photography to mini photography. Ultimate resin printer. Well, for me, an 8K resin printer would be nice and get double the resolution of these 4K ones. But the technology, there's two technologies I've seen in resin printing which would excite me. One is if you Google, and I don't even know what to Google exactly to find it, but one of the universities was working on a resin printer that shot the light from 360 degrees and fully formed a mini in like 2 or 3 minutes with no supports because the light's coming from everywhere.
Wow.
And I think they did an image of the Thinker. Now, it didn't come out as well as what we could print now, but it's nascent technology. It's in its first iteration, and it worked. So that would be incredible if one day you could just make a 3D print in 2 or 3 minutes. It comes out perfect, no supports. That would be the ultimate. And then the other thing is, I was very interested when Hero Ford launched their color printing, and it sucks. So I was very disappointed when I got my color figure from them, but it did give me a glimpse into the technology. Again, it's an early version of the technology. If that technology advances, that you can actually 3D print in perfect color. Because right now, I don't know if you've seen it, Jerry, but their 3D printing, I ordered one of the figures. It looks like crap to me, absolute crap. And it's made of, I think it's done by sintering, basically, which is where you do a layer of like sand and then fuse it and then fill it in with more sand and fuse it. At the end, you brush off all the sand and you've got a figure.
Yeah, I've seen that.
Right. So that's what I think they do. I'm not 100% sure. But right now, that technology still sucks horribly, if you ask me. But it shows you where it could go. If that advances in the next 5 years, you might be able to. I mean, my ultimate dream is to paint and figure in 3D on my computer and do it 1,000,000 times better than I ever could, and then print it out and have it come out like that. That would be the ultimate, right?
Since you've been testing all these resin printers that are fairly current and they just came out, Kenny Briggs has a question. He is in the metal detecting business. He's an older gentleman. He just bought a Creality printer, which he's having trouble with because it was defective, has a bad screen or something on it. What do you think would be a good resin printer for him all around current best bang for the buck for him to get into.
For a starter?
Yeah.
The funny thing is, I don't know that any of them, I don't know if there's anything such thing as a starter printer, because as anyone knows who's doing this is its own hobby. You still need a little bit of knowledge. Like, I always liken it to a light switch. You walk into the room, you turn the light switch on, the light works. You don't need to know anything. And if it doesn't work, you call an electrician, they fix it. 3D printing, if something goes wrong, you have to fix it yourself, right? If there's a problem, you have to troubleshoot it. So I always say, there's no such thing as plug and play yet for FDM or resin printers, right? They all require some TLC and some knowledge. So I don't know if there's a resin printer that works better than any others. I'd have to say, if someone told me I have unlimited money, but below $1,000, what would I get? To me, I think the ePax X1K, although it doesn't have as high resolution as the Sonic Mini 4K right now, I think ePax makes the most user-friendly of the machines in terms of the easiest to get started. They pre-level at the factory for you, so you don't even have to do that. And their machines are very reliable and very durable. And I think they use, according to them, they use a higher quality of components than the lower price competitors are using. So I think the ePax X1K would be a good entry-level printer for someone, but it is, $200 more than like a Sonic Mini 4K. So it's only if you have the disposable income and you want something a little easier and built a little better. But Sonic Mini 4K would be a good start too. I mean,
a year ago, I would have said they'll do Mars, but they've come out with so many things since then.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, it's crazy what's going on now. I mean, all kind of companies are jumping in from China, that I've never even heard of, right? This company, Mingda, sent me a printer review. I was like, who the hell are these guys? But they're big in making other stuff. And now that our market is growing, we have more and more people coming in. Whenever you get more money somewhere, you get more people coming in, right? They want a piece of the pie when it gets big enough.
Yeah, I've contacted Mingda about reviewing one of their printers, but I'm too small, so that went out the window.
Well, I have to say, they won't be happy with me saying this. They sent me a printer review, and this is the build plate right here. You guys probably can't see it. The build plate, this part is not attached square to the build plate. You can probably actually see it, right?
Yeah, well, it looks crooked.
This side's higher. This side is lower than this side. If I hold it straight, you can see.
Wow.
So when I attached it to the arm, it was sitting like cockeyed. I was like, I told myself, I'm not even reviewing this printer, because if I review this printer, first thing I'm going to talk about is you guys couldn't even send out a build plate that was square. So, you're not going to like that review. So
Matt's got a question. What do you think of the Wii box? I don't know what he's talking about.
I have not tested. They actually asked me if I want to test it, and I think I said yes, but then I don't think they ever sent it to me. Oh, Roy, you bought the ePax E10, I see. Yeah, that's a good machine. It's been printing really nice for me.
TK's 3D Print says, Greg, you need to post your links to the models in the Photon Facebook groups.
Yeah. Oh, on the Photon groups. Yeah, I post in there occasionally my stuff. I'll probably. I was waiting till, I know some groups are like Mondays only for ads, so I was trying to wait till next Monday to post in all the groups that my Kickstarter has delivered the files, and late pledges are open as well.
I just joined their group the other day because I bought the new printer, and my first post was for this video, which I said, if this isn't allowed, please delete. So I don't know if it got taken down or not, but I hated to do that, because when I started my group around almost 4 years ago, the reason I started a group is because so many groups didn't want me to post my links. So when you have your own group, you can do whatever you want. So
right, and that's funny. And in my group, so if people don't know, I have actually my own channel, which I totally forget to advertise it all the time, because it's not for me, it's for users. It's 3D resin printing with 3D Printing Pro. There's no ads allowed at all, even by me. I don't post a link. I don't post nothing in there, because I wanted a place where people could come and get advice and help and have no ads. Because all the Facebook groups I'm in is like advertisement after advertisement. I'm always like scrolling through to get to the people who need help and stuff. So even on my Facebook group, I don't even advertise. I follow my own rules, because I just thought there need to be one place that's ad free. So that's my channel. I don't know if, like I said, I keep forgetting to tell people I have it. So there's only like 2,000 people in it, but I'll remember one day to advertise it.
Yeah, the biggest problem I was having with my Facebook group is I was letting everybody post all their STLs that they designed, the Patreons, and it was just getting carried away. So I made
it becomes a never-ending advertisement for Patreon, basically.
I started deleting everybody, and I said, if you want to contact me, we'll see. But everybody just starts, and if they repost, I just start deleting them. If they keep doing it after I delete their posts, then I just kick them. So, and then I advertise my stuff every Thursday. So that's a little bit of extra income for. There's 3 or 4 sites. I go on Twitter and both Facebooks, and I post my links. There's 3 or 4 of them once a week.
Andrew actually knows Mingda. Okay, someone actually experienced with them. I'd never heard of them. Yeah, I hate that. I don't want to like come and kick them, but the printer they sent me to review, I literally told them, you do not want me to review this. Let's just leave it at that. That's what I told them. I said, you're better off I don't make a review of this.
Let me go back to some of these prints. I don't think I showed all of them. Did I show this earlier?
Oh, no, you didn't show this one. This is the Bugbear. Oh, that's the guy. You know what? That's the guy who was sitting right on my desk that I held up before. This is an awesome sculpt by Lion Tower Patreon, Daniel Kelly. He's a great artist. His Patreon is undersubscribed, in my opinion. But I also understand why. He does a little bit of realistic proportions on most of his models. So a lot of his models, I think, look too skinny for people. But I told him that when he sculpted for me, he had to do a big, really big buff, Bugbear, and that's what he did. And I think the sculpt is just amazing. The detail on it. Look how nice the fangs printed out on that and the teeth. It's great. That's Sonic Mini 4K. That is crazy how the detail on that thing. This one is from Titan Forge, believe it or not.
A genie, okay.
Yeah, well, Titan Forge made a version of this, and instead of smoke and a lamp, he has like a skirt. He's floating, and to me, it looked more like a ghost than a genie. So I actually asked them, could I resculpt their genie with my sculptor and, call it a collaboration? And they were nice enough to say, yeah, go ahead. So we added the smoke and the lamp, which I think makes it a lot better. And we also buffed them up and added a lot of muscles to them. Because, again, all my figures have to be hypermuscular because I wanted to make figures that I felt were easy for people to paint. And if you have really defined muscles on figures, it's a lot easier to paint them because instead of having to paint the muscles on, you can kind of just dry brush and bring those muscles out.
Yeah, TK does tons and tons of minis. He's been on my Hangouts quite a bit. Once or twice a week, I do Hangouts where I invite people in just to hang out and chat for 2 to 4 hours.
Yeah. Yeah, the other reason I don't advertise too much, I don't want to be like a spammy advertised guy anyway. I figure hopefully people like my stuff, they'll buy it. I try to get the word out now and then, but I don't want to do it too much because, I'm more about trying to help people with their printing and getting successful prints than pushing my own Kickstarter in the end, Kickstarter, this was something fun for me that I wanted to do. And like I said, involve the whole community, but I don't want that to be like, that's what I'm all about. I'm still, the whole purpose of my channel was just to help people. So I want to, focus more on helping people than selling stuff in the end,
Are most of your minis printed? I'm hearing myself again.
You sound like you're underwater, Jerry.
Yeah, I'm hearing myself on your side. I don't know. Do you print most of your minis? Do they are painted?
No way. I've got, and I don't want to call it a pile of shame because it's a pile of pride for me. But I have so many unpainted minis. It's unbelievable. And I don't have that much time to paint. And unless it's terrain, which I can dry brush, I don't really paint that fast either. So you'll see most of the paint stuff you see from me is more terrain style pieces because I can paint them really fast. The Grinch. Awesome.
Grinch, like Chaos Vortex, it came off of Thangs.com.
That's nice.
And then here's Max the dog.
Love it. I'm a big Grinch fan.
And then Cindy Lou Who.
Yep, Cindy Lou Who.
Yeah, she's solid. Max is solid, but I want to Grinch. And then once I dried it out, then I just took some resin with a Q-tip and a UV flashlight and plugged the holes.
Yep, I do that UV flashlight trick all the time.
I've never got it on my skin yet, thank God, and with a UV flashlight, but
I get resin on me all the time. I wear my gloves, I wear all my safety gear, but somehow I get, with the amount of printing I do and handling everything, somehow resin is like sneaky. It gets everywhere. Like resin is worse than water, right? it finds a way, right? It's like the dinosaurs in what the hell?
Sobel's in chat. Hello, Sobel. How you doing? I just got my video done earlier, and I sent you a link for it.
Yeah. It's like dinosaurs in Jurassic Park, where Dr. Malcolm says nature finds a way. That's how I feel like resin is like. Resin always gets on you somehow. At least I find for me. I'm always running to the sink to wash myself off, get a drop of resin here or there, or like I forget to wear socks, I drop one on my foot, stuff like that.
Yeah, I've always been real critical wearing glasses and gloves till one day I, watched a few videos and I said, well, all the chemicals I've dealt with my whole life, let's see what resin does. So I put some on my hand. Of course, I wiped it off and went and washed it, but it wasn't like acid like I thought it was. But some people it might affect differently. So always
I got burned. I actually have a scar. You probably can't, it won't come out now. But I actually got some resin on my hand, I think, and didn't know. Because normally I wash off right away. And I think I didn't wash it off. It was the summertime. I went outside. I did my normal stuff. And later that night, I actually got a burn on my hand. Not like terrible, but it was a burn. And I'm pretty sure it was from resin that I somehow missed and got on me. Yeah, resin on my skin doesn't cause me a rash or irritation, but I've seen people post who got some on them, and you can have allergic reaction to it.
Yeah, I told my wife that I'd get these painted on the video, so now I need to get it done because I've got literally hundreds of things that I haven't painted. I'm very slow about getting things done. But as you know, well, anybody that's retired knows the days go by that quick. Now, when you have a job and you're leaving the house, it seems to me that most people are watching their watch, waiting for time to go home, and the days are long. But when you're retired, they go by that quick.
Yeah. I wish I had more time to paint. I really do. Because when I paint something, I really enjoy painting, and I really enjoy seeing the finished product. But these days, especially with doing the Kickstarter and stuff, I was so busy, I really just didn't really have time to paint. So hopefully now that my Kickstarter is over and I'm almost done delivering all my files, hopefully I'll find some time to paint. But I am working on my next Kickstarter. It's starting to be worked on, and it's going to be a doozy. I decided to dabble into the NSFW, not safe for work, slightly sexier models and see what happens. I'd love to show a preview, but I can't yet.
Next question. Let me jump on one of my questions here. Are you? No, we already know the answer to most of this. Are you married, have kids, and you have pets?
Married, kids, yes, know the answer to both of those. No pets currently. I absolutely love cats, but somehow when I was about 19 or 20 years old, I became allergic to cats, and now I can't have one. I got one anyway. I tried anyway, and for a year, I couldn't breathe. And then it turned out one of my kids was allergic too, so we had to give the cat away. I was very sad. I love cats, can't have one.
Yeah, the Dulles Air Force Base is about a mile and a half away, and I can hear what time is it? 6 o'clock. They play the national anthem or whatever it is they play. I can hear it in the background outside right now.
Roy, someone there. Roy has an artist in his family. His wife is an artist. Yeah, make her paint your prints.
Oh, wow.
That would be. I wish my wife could paint. That would be awesome. Yeah, Dr. Jekyll, the Anycubic Wash and Cure. That's what I have. Right behind. You can't see it because of my chair. I've got the Anycubic Wash and Cure right behind my chair. I love that thing.
I have an ultrasonic cleaner with green mean, and I have a pickle jar with IPA. And then I went down to Lowe's and I bought a chrome trash can that you put your foot on. I took the guts out of it, and because it's chrome, I lined it with UV lights. And I bought a little deal off Amazon. It's the sun makes it turn, the little bed.
Oh yeah. Like the jewelry display thing.
Yeah. And then I got that sitting on a mirror, so I just lift up the lid, stuff in it, and plug it in. But the problem is, quite often I turn it on for 5 or 6 minutes. I go to the microwave, and I hit like 6 minutes. I forget about it. And an hour or two later, it's like, oh no,
totally baked.
So Lou sent me out a little small one that I put together in a video a few weeks ago. That's got a little timer on it. You close the door, it works great. It's for minis, it's perfect. It's real small. So I've been picking up on that lately.
I call the Anycubic Wash and Cure, or the new the Elegoo Luna, or is it the Elegoo Luna. Those things are luxury items. You don't need them. But if you have them, it makes life a little better. But like I said, you can always just construct that stuff like you just talked about and it's just as good, basically.
Let's see. My problem is a speed painter.
I've actually made 1 or 2 painting videos, but no one seems to care.
And everybody heard that. That probably means that I got a delivery. I got gas to all the house.
Yeah. So, what else? Anyone have any other questions?
Oh yeah, here's one thing I can pull up on the screen. Joel finally got my sticker the other day. So he done a video, I think it was yesterday, and opened the envelope. I sent this to him a while back. I forgot to send him $5 in a self-addressed stamped envelope to get stickers, but at least he got my sticker, so I'm happy. So now I need to send him another letter. So anyway, that's pretty cool.
Nice, nice. I had an unplanned cameo on Joel's channel when he had another guest on who was a professional supporter in the industry, and that guy actually recommended me for people to learn how to do supports. So it was kind of funny.
And I'm currently working on my Ghostbuster rack. I have a lot more painting to do on it, and then I have to make it look really old. Once I get it done painting it, then I'm going to have to make it look old and beat up. And then I resin printed all the tires. And I got more work to do on them, but they're getting there. They're at 250% scale.
Looking pretty good.
So, yeah, I got like a billion things going on here, there, and everywhere.
Okay, my favorite video game. Okay, when I have free time, there's 2 games I play. League of Legends, which is an awesome 5v5 fighting game, basically, and played by about 200 million people. And the other one, when I want to go solo, I play Skyrim. Love me some Skyrim.
And everybody that's watching, please hit that like and subscribe button. I'd really appreciate it. I see I got 22 thumbs up and 32 watching. I'm not sure how many I got on Facebook. And let's see. I've got 2 people.
Esports. Esports. I love what League of Legends. It's fun to play, and it's also fun to watch. That's some good stuff, in my opinion. Dr. Jekyll, if you mix in Tenacious, anywhere from 10 to 20%, it works great for making resins a lot more durable. I mean, in my opinion, you lose a tiny little bit of your detail, but you do gain the durability.
Hello, 3D Print Mama.
Borderlands, I don't play. My kids play Borderlands, though. I keep meaning to play it because I like the art style, but I just haven't had time.
And as far as the resin, I hate this. Yeah, I'm here every time I talk.
Yeah, Brandon, World of Warcraft, man. I used to play World of Warcraft. I had to stop because it was taking over my life. I was in one of those serious guilds, raiding all the time and doing all that stuff. So I had to cut myself off from World of Warcraft.
Let me scroll back down here. Well, I guess we're going to wrap it up. We went over about 10 minutes.
Oh, okay. That's because I talk too much.
It's okay. Do you have any teasers on any upcoming projects or anything you'd like to tell anybody about?
Nah, I can't. The only teaser I can say is if people aren't offended by nudity, my next project got some killer concepts coming, some unbelievable sculpts. So hopefully people come out and support that. It's going to be pretty crazy. Not a big Kickstarter. It's going to be a small Kickstarter to test the market. And if it goes well, we're going to expand the lines. And also,
quick question: what's your longest 3D resin print?
My longest resin print, I think, was probably about 22 or 23 hours.
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember what it was even. I just know it might have been part of a dice tower from Fate's End. Might have been one of my longest prints for resin.
Yeah. But anyway, thank you very much for coming on today. Stick around for just a minute. Like I said, everybody watching, we got links to everything Greg has talked about in the description below to his channel. Please go like and subscribe to him. And he's all over Facebook, everywhere. So
yeah. Cool. Thank you, Jerry. Thank you, man.
Back with you. Yeah, I'm kind of tripping over my words here. Yeah, I'd like to thank everybody that came by and hung out and liked and subscribed. It's really awesome. Each and every week, I try to have a special guest on. I try to do live streams once or twice a week based on what I got going on around the house here. But anyway, everybody have a great night, and thank you for coming by. I really appreciate it. Take care and happy printing.